In this video, I'd like to introduce you to the modulus and argument of a complex number. So I have a complex number here, 1 plus root 3i, and I want to graph it onto this argand plane. So I've got I there and the real part here. And so I go along 1 and then up root 3. So root 3 is about here. It doesn't have to be deadly accurate. But what I do want to do is to actually label it on the sides. So let's take a different color and dark blue. So 1 here, and then here, coming all the way down, is root 3. Now the modulus, this is becoming a right angled triangle here, of course. The modulus means the length of the complex number. So I can see it there, and the length of that I'm going to use Pythagoras. So root of 3 squared is 3, add 1 gives me 4, and I'll square root it, so it becomes 2. Now I hope you've seen these sorts of triangles before, the 2, root 3 and 1. So here's my modulus, which is 2. So I've got that, it's got a modulus of 2. And the argument is here. Now it's always the angle it makes with the real axis, and I always measure anti-clockwise like that. You could sometimes measure like this and call it a negative. So it depends on whether they want the argument between 0 and 2 pi, or they want it between negative pi and pi. It's going to be quite straightforward for this one. I just need to work out the angle here. Now, I'm going to go straight in, and this is pi over 3. And I know that it's pi over 3 because I've got cosine as 1 over 2, and that's the angle that gives me pi over 3. This is another reason why you should be very sure of those trig ratios. So that's going to give me pi over 3. And that's called the argument. So I've got the modulus and the argument for any complex number. So let's do another example. Maybe one that's not in this first quadrant. So let's choose a number such as, let's put a plane up here first of all, and let's choose another complex number such as w. So let's make it w equals negative 2 plus 2i. So now first thing I'm going to do is plot it. So I'm going to go negative 2 plus 2. So there it is right there. And let's just draw that line in. And the first thing we're going to do is work out the modulus. So I'm going to have that length as being 2. This length here is also 2. 2 squared plus 2 squared gives me 4 plus 4, which gives me 8. Square rooted 2 root 2. And notice that this is never a negative number because it's a length of something. So that's my modulus. 2 root 2. Now my argument is slightly harder. I've deliberately chosen one that comes into this plane, into this quadrant here. So my argument is always measured from here, and I always go around anti-clockwise. So that's my argument in here. But that's not going to be the triangle that I use for my argument. I'm going to use this triangle here to get my argument. And this angle in here, because this is 2 and this is 2, this is pi over 4. Or if you want to use degrees or have a think about that in degrees, that's 45 degrees. That makes it the isosceles triangle. And so my argument, not pi over 4, but 3 pi over 4. Because all the way around to this line here, if I carried that on around, would be pi. And it's pi minus pi over 4. So the argument for this one is 3 pi over 4. So I'm going to stop there. Hope you've got a good grasp of modulus and argument form.